Welcome back, folks, to another episode of The Raven's Eye. My name is Hugh, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about necromancy, a little bit about divination, the beginning, the end, creation, and destruction. And with that, let's get right down to it. Heed my words, all you classes of men, you greater and lesser children of Heimdall. You summoned me, Odin, to tell all that I recall of the oldest deeds of gods and men. I remember the giants, born so long ago. In those ancient days they raised me. I remember 9 worlds, 9 giantesses, and the seed from which Yggdrasil sprang. It was the very beginning. It was Ymir's time. There was no sand, no sea, no clean waves, no earth, no sky, no grass. Just Ginongagap, Odin and his brothers. They created the earth. It was they who made Midgard. The sun shone from the south upon the stones of their hall, and the land turned green with growing plant life. The sun, companion of the moon, shone from the south as the heavenly horses pulled it east to west. The sun did not yet know where it rested at evening. The stars did not yet know their places in the sky, and the moon did not yet know what kind of power it had. Then all of the gods, those holy, holy gods, went to their thrones and came to a decision. They would name the... Then all of the gods went to their thrones, those holy, holy gods, and came to a decision. They named the night and the hours, the morning and the midday, the afternoon and the evening, so that they could tell time. The gods had their meeting at Ivathol, where they built temples and high shrines. They made workshops, they made benches, they made tongs and other tools. They played in the grass, they were cheerful, they had no lack of cold, until 3 giantesses, fiendish giantesses from Jotunheim. Then all of the gods went to their thrones, those holy, holy gods, and they came to a decision. They would make the lord of the dwarves from Ymir's blood and rotten limbs. Then they made Motsungir, and he was the lord of the dwarves. And next, they made Durin. They made many man-like little creatures, dwarves of the earth, and Durin named them. Nigh and Nirthi, Northri and Southri, Ostri and Vestri, Earthjorf, Dvalen, Beaver, Baver, Bomber, Nori, An and Anar. I, Mjorthvidnir, Veg and Gandalf. Vindar, Thrain, Thek and Thorin. Thror, Vit and Lit, Nar and Nairath, Regin and Rastabith. Now I have named the dwarves correctly. Fili Kili, Fundinali, Hepti Vili, Hannar Sphere, Frar, Onbury, Freg and Loni, Orven, Yari, Oakenshield. Now the names of Dvalin's family, the dwarves of Lufar, as men tell. The ones who left their stone halls for a home on your Voluspa. These were Draupnir and Dolgrathir, Har and Hawksbury, Clevang, Gloy, Skirfir, Virfir, Skaffith, and I. Alf and Ingvi, Oakenshield, Fjalar and Frosty, Fifth and Ginnar. The names of these dwarves, the descendants of Lofar, will be famous as long as the world exists. 3 gods, powerful and passionate, left Asgard for Midgard. They found Ask and Embla, weak, fateless in that land. They had no breath, no soul, no hair, no voice. They looked inhuman. Odin gave them breath, Onir gave them souls, Loth gave them hair and human faces. I know an ash tree named Yggdrasil, a high tree speckled with white clay. Dewdrops fall from it upon the valleys. It stands forever green above earth's well. 3 wise women live there, by that well under the tree. Earth is named one, another Verthandi, the third is named Skuld. They carve men's fates, they determine destiny's laws, they choose the lifespan of every human child. And how each life will end. I remember the first murder ever in the world, when Gulvig was pierced by spears and burned in Odin's hall. They burned her 3 times. She was reborn 3 times. Often killed, not a few times. Still, she would live again. They named her Heathen when she came into their homes, a sorceress who foresaw good things. She knew magic, she knew witchcraft, she practiced witchcraft. She was the pride of an evil family. Then all of the gods went to their thrones, those holy, holy gods, and came to a decision. About whether they should endure Gulvik's depredations, or whether they should seek revenge. Odin let a spear fly. That was the first war in the world. The outer wall of Asgard was broken. The Vanir knew war magic. They trampled the valley. Then all of the gods went to their thrones, those holy, holy gods, and they came to a decision. All the air would be poisoned with their deceit, or Odin's wife would be married to a giant. Thor alone was in the mood to fight. He does not take it lightly when he hears of such things. Broken promises, broken oaths and vows, such false speech as even the gods had uttered. I know where Heimdall hid his ear, under the heaven-bright holy branches of Yggdrasil. I see a river that feeds the muddy waterfall, where Odin's eye hides. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? I sat alone when the Ancient One came to me, Odin of the Aesir, and he looked me into my eye. What do you seek from me, Odin? What do you seek from me, Odin? I know where you hid your eye, in the famous waters of the well of Mimir. But Mimir can drink every morning from those waters, while your own eye drowns. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? Odin opened my eyes to rings and necklaces. In exchange, he got wisdom and prophecy. I saw more and more, looking out over all the worlds. I saw Valkyries come from far away, ready to ride to the home of the gods. Skuld held a shield, and Skulgul another. Gun, Hild, Gondol, and Geirskuld. Now the Valkyries are counted. ready to ride to the sky, to the earth, without Greece. I saw Baldur, the bloodied victim, Odin's son, resigned to his fate. High above the plain. That tree, which seemed harmless, caused a terrible sorrow when Hoth took a shot. Baldur's brother was born soon thereafter. He was Odin's son. He took vengeance while still just a day old. He had never washed his hands, nor combed his hair, when he put Baldur's killer on the funeral pyre. Frigg wept in Fensalir for the woe of Valhalla. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? I saw a prisoner lying in a certain wood, that liar himself, none other than Loki. There sits Sigyn, his wife, although she finds no glee in her husband. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? A river falls from the east, full of daggers and swords, through the valleys of poison. It is named Slith. There stands north of the dark valleys a golden hall of the kin of Sindri, and another stands at Okulnir, the beer hall of a giant named Grimnir. I saw a hall that stood far from the sun, on the beaches of corpses. The doors face north. Drops of poison fall through the roof. Its walls are encircled by a serpent. I saw oath breakers wading in, those thick streams, and murderers, and those who seduce others' lovers. There Nidhogg sucks the corpses of the fallen, snaps them in his jaws. Have you heard enough yet, All-Father? In the east sat an aged giantess in iron wood, and there she raised Fenrir's brood. Among them is a certain one who bites the moon in a troll's shape. Dead men feed the lives of the wolf. The home of the gods turns red with gore. The sun shines black through the summers. The weather is never cheerful. Have you heard enough yet, All-Father? A giant, a herder by trade, sits there on a burial mound, striking a harp. He is the cheerful Egther. A bright red rooster named Fjalar sings near him in birdwood. Near the Aesir sings the rooster named Golden Comb. He wakes the men who fight for Odin, the Lord of battle. But another sings below the earth, a soot-red rooster in the halls of hell. Fenrir howls terribly before the doors to hell. The wolf will break his chains. Fenrir howls terribly before the doors to hell. The wolf will break its bonds and run. I know much wisdom. I see deep in the future, all the way to Ragnarok. For the gods. Brothers will fight one another and kill one another. Cousins will break peace with one another. The world will be a hard place to live in. It will be an age of adultery, an age of the axe, an age of the sword, an age of storm, an age of wolves. Shields will be clothing before the world sinks into the sea. There will be no man left who is true to another. The giants are at play and the gods' fate is kindled. At the blast of Hjallarhorn. Heimdall blows that horn hard, holds it high aloft. Odin speaks with Mimir's head. The old tree sighs when the giant shakes it. Yggdrasil still stands, but it trembles. Fenrir howls terribly before the doors to hell. The wolf will break his bonds and run. I know much wisdom. Fenrir howls terribly before the doors to hell. The wolf will break his bonds and run. I know much wisdom. I see deep in the future, all the way to Ragnarok, a dark day for the gods. Hrym advances from the east with a shield before him, and the Midgard serpent is in a monstrous rage. The serpent beats the waves. The serpent beats the waves, and the eagle screams eagerly, splitting corpses with its pale beak. Naglfar, the giant's ship, is released. That ship sails from the east, bearing giants over the sea, and Loki is its captain. The giants are coming together with Fenrir, and Loki too is with them on that voyage. What news from the gods? What news from the elves? All Jotunheim is rearing. The Aesir are in council, and the dwarves, creatures of the mountains, tremble by their doors of stone, Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? Surt comes from the south with a bright light in his hand. Yes, the sun shines upon the sword in his grasp. The mountains collapse, the trolls fall, men walk the roads to hell, and the skies divide above. Then comes the second sorrow of Frigg, when Odin goes to fight the wolf, and Frey goes to fight the giant Surt. Then Odin, Frigg's husband, will fall to Fenrir. Then comes the great son of Odin, Vidar, to fight, to avenge his father on the wolf. He shoves his sword into the mouth of Fenrir all the way to the hilt. And thus is Odin avenged. Then Thor comes, Earth's son, Odin's son, to fight the Midgard serpent. The protector of Midgard will kill the serpent in his rage, but all humankind will die out of the world when Thor falls after only 9 steps. Struck down by the venom of an honorless serpent. The sun turns black, the earth sinks into the sea. The bright stars fall out of the sky. Flames scorch the leaves of Yggdrasil. A grape on fire reaches to the highest clouds. Fenrir howls terribly before the doors to hell. The wolf will break his bonds and run. I know much wisdom. I see deep in the future, all the way to Ragnarok. A dark day for the gods. I see the earth rise a second time from out of the sea, green once more. Waterfalls flow, the eagles fly overhead, hunting for fish among the mountain peaks. The Aesir meet on Yvathal and regard their homes. The Aesir meet on Yvathal and regard the bones of the Midgard serpent. And there they recall the great events of Ragnarok and Odin's old wisdom. There they will find once more the wonderful golden game pieces in the grass which they had once played with in the earliest days. Fields will bear harvest without labor, all sickness will disappear. Balder will come back, Hoth, and Balder will live in Odin's hall, as well as other gods. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? Then Honir will speak forth his prophecies, and the 2 sons of Odin, the 2 brothers, will inherit the heavens. Have you learned enough yet, Allfather? I see a hall standing there, more beautiful than sunlight, thatched with gold at Gimli. There bold men will dwell, and enjoy cheer throughout their lives. Then the dark dragon will come flying down from the dark mountains, that glittering serpent, Nithhug, will bear corpses on his wings as he flies over that valley. Now, I must retire.
Alright everyone, thank you very much for sticking with me tonight and getting through the whole entire Voluspa with me. I love you all. Please don't forget to like and comment down below. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell notification button so you will get notified whenever I post a new video. Now, until next time, Skål y'all.